Hey, buddy.
Hey, Steve, how's it going there?
Well, I'm doing good, man. You got me in my yard outfit. This is my work in the yard outfit, and 11 o'clock rolled around much quicker than I thought. So you got me in my yard outfit.
Well, a fashionable yard outfit. I mean, a lot of people, for me, would be like a black band t-shirt and shorts. You wear a button down to do yard work?
Yeah, it's very formal. No, I mean, so these shirts are like sunblock. I don't like to wear sunblock, so they're very, very thin. And when it's hot, you're still getting a breeze through the shirt, but you're saving yourself from the sun. And then I got to get the hat to cover the face. It's a whole thing.
I hear you. Well, hey, can we start this off with a compliment?
Absolutely.
Okay. The growth of your career is astounding and so inspiring because the last time I interviewed you, I think the bio said he's been viewed over 173 million times. And now I think the bio says he's been viewed over 223 million times. And I think we're only talking about a year and a half that those extra 50 or 60 million views happened. So, hey, it's fantastic to see all that happening.
Well, and not only that, it's fun. Like it's one of those things, and now with the TikTok, my voice, everybody uses my voice. So I'm at Home Depot the other day talking to the paint guy, and the woman goes, "Can you talk again?" And I go, "What?" She goes, "Your voice." Right. I go, "What do you mean my voice?" She goes, "Oh my God, it's you. You're the comedian that I listen to from this influencer that does all your stuff." So it's been fun and exciting, and I embrace it. I don't care that other people use my material on their social media. I mean, obviously, I want to be tagged, and I want people to let them know where they got the soundbite from. But I mean, TikTok alone has just extremely blew up. I mean, we're at 1.2 million followers on TikTok, and the last video we put up did 14 million. So it's just crazy.
Right. So at this point in time, you're obviously a headlining comic doing theaters. I think you've had 5 specials. The podcast with Renae just keeps growing. It kind of sounds like where you are right now is where you really wanted to be 4 or 5 years ago.
1000%. And not only that, the vision that my wife and I wanted for us to work together, because a couple that doesn't spend time together, you start kind of growing apart. So the wife and I are a team. We do this together, and I think that that's also what is appealing to people, is that they see that I am the guy that works in my yard on my own. I don't hire people to work in my yard. My wife and I have a very, very normal marriage and relationship. I'm not very Hollywood. I am the typical man's man, dude's dude. I always say I'm a below average man trying to make an above average woman happy. And I think that most men feel that way.
Right. Like every Kevin James project or Adam Sandler project there is. And are you still living in Texas these days?
I am still living in Texas. And again, I think that I am a Texas guy, born and raised, and coming back to Texas. But what's really great about it is that everybody around me is not in the business. And when I lived in Los Angeles, all anybody ever talked about was the business. And, well, what are you doing? And what producers are you working with? And what agency are you with? And what manager? And here, they could care less about me being a comedian anymore. They all think it's cool and they think it's exciting. But we just talk about our kids, our yard, our life, what we're going through, raising kids. And it's a very normal environment. And I need that for my stand-up. I also need it for my family and my kids. And I think that that's why I'm able to continue to be relatable despite the success, despite the, and not to be braggadocious, but despite the financial success as well. We're very grounded and very down to earth, and we live a very normal life. And I think that that's what's appealing.
You mentioned the yard a few times now. Is it because there's so much land that you have to take care of it, or is it actually a hobby?
It's a little bit of both. I do live on 12 acres, and there is always something to do. But it is definitely a hobby, but it is a very zen moment for me. I get off the road. from being in the circus. I call it the circus. I go out into the circus. I perform for thousands of people. There's meet and greets. The green rooms are crazy, and I come home and it is my peaceful, me in the yard, me in the lawnmower, me in the property. And I just do my thing. And it's very therapeutic for me.
How long would you say you need to cool down after a show? Because I know the artist high of performing on stage and doing the meet and greet where it's sort of cool down, but you're still talking a mile a minute and meeting all the people before you get to the hotel and nobody talks and it's very quiet there. Does it take you a long time to come down?
It takes a very long time to come down. And there is like, for example, I'm up every morning when I'm home at 6 a.m. I'm getting my kids ready. I'm taking them to school. I am about as involved as a parent as you can become. Mm-hmm. I coach jujitsu. I coach my son in jujitsu. I coach my son in Little League. So Monday and Wednesday is jujitsu. Tuesday, Thursday is Little League. And then keep in mind that all of a sudden Friday, I'm on the first flight out, which is usually 6 or 7 a.m. So I'm up at 3:30, 4 in the morning. I'm going to the airport. I'm flying to that next city. And then by the time I get there and eat lunch, there's very little downtime. Then it's time to go to the show. And then I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning. So Friday for me is a 18, 19-hour day.
Right.
And then it's, man, I'm exhausted. Let me sleep in. And now I don't know if you have kids or not, but sleeping in to me is 8 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Like 8 a.m. I'm like, why am I awake right now? I was up till 3 a.m. Why am I up at 8 a.m.? And then Saturday starts again. And then again, start it all over, get back in town Sunday morning, hang out with the kids and the family, try to go to bed at a decent hour because Monday I'm up at 6 again. So it is this up and down. And the hard part is after those shows, I can't sleep because I'm amped up. The adrenaline's going. I'm super excited. Right. And when I do meet and greets and people's energy feeds me. When I do those meet and greets and people are like, oh, I had such a great time and we laughed so hard. And oh my God, you and your wife are like me and my wife. I mean, that's the stuff that even energizes me more. So the meet and greet actually puts logs on the fire.
When you just called the Friday an 18-hour day, I think you might have sold it short because isn't there usually 1 or 2 morning radio appearances or call-ins for the afternoon drive along with that? So you have to be funny even longer.
Yeah, even longer. And not only that, there's the managers, there's the agents, there's, all the things that are going on. So there really is no time to sleep on Friday. It is. And that is the only day of the week that I have a drink. I will have a drink Friday evening after my second show and have a couple of drinks to wind down and relax and have a little bit of fun. And then Saturday, I don't drink because it's back. I mean, usually I don't sleep at all Saturday because by the time I get off stage, by the time I do the meet and greet, I'm on that first flight out. I mean, it's full. I'm back at the hotel by 2 a.m. I got to be up at 4 a.m. to then go to the airport.
So it sounds like the everyday civilian, Monday is the dreaded day where they have to, come down and get back into their routine. But for comics, it's actually Fridays are their Mondays.
Friday or Thursday. I am lucky enough that I am no longer doing the most of my weekends are Friday, Saturday. And I did that on purpose because I do want to be a good dad to my kids. I want to be a good husband to my wife. And, we sell so many tickets on Friday and Saturday that I really don't need that Thursday anymore. And I don't need that Sunday. So for me, it's Friday, other comedians Thursday. I mean, shoot, in the old days when I was coming up, we would work Wednesday through Sunday.
Right.
Well,
I know you're a hard rock guy because the last time we were talking, Eddie Ojeda was mentioned towards the end of the interview. But what you're talking about with days of the week, the Bret Michaels tour that's happening this summer, I think it's called the Party Gras, which I don't know if it's the most cringy title for a tour ever or genius, but I think it only does Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they go home the rest of the week. And even though it's a summer shed tour, so it makes me wonder if Bret Michaels, a lot of people figured out the genius of being able to tour, 40, 50 weeks a year, but not the full 40, 50 weeks a year.
Yeah, I mean, and again, comedy used to be the most important thing to me. Then my wife came in my life, and then she became number one, and then comedy became number two. Then I had, my kids, and then now the kids are number one, the wife's number two, tied with one before I get in trouble, and then comedy. So
Yeah.
as much as I love doing stand-up, and I'll never stop doing it, I put my family first, and I also think that is the appeal to my stand-up, is even in my stand-up and the jokes that I write, people know that my family is first.
Right. So hearkening back to what we were talking about before about how sometimes you're the headlining comic and sometimes it's specials and sometimes it's podcasts. It's a multifaceted career. These days, you found success in being your own self-produced person where, yes, you can be on Amazon, Netflix, Showtime projects, etc., but you can fund the comedy special yourself and it's still seen by millions of people over time. In the future, do you think your next special will be independent?
I don't know. I mean, we're kind of having that. It's funny you bring that up because that's the exact conversation that we're having right now. Because I have grown so big in my career, now all of a sudden the streaming networks are very interested in, hey, we want Steve Treviño on our streaming networks. We'd like to give him a deal. So we're entertaining those offers as we speak. I do like having the attitude of, you're not going to tell me what to say and how to say it, because I don't need you. So I do like being at a point where I have that pull to go, look, I don't need you. We all know I don't need you. I will go out and do it myself. I've done it myself and been very successful. But we're entertaining that, and we're trying to figure out, I have never had the commercial press. Everything that I've done has been organic. Everything I've done is through word of mouth. Mm-hmm. Through social media. I've never had the billboards and the advertisement and the front page of a Netflix or Amazon Prime, where they're shoving it in your face going, see this, you need to watch this. I've never had that. So I'm weighing out the options. Is it worth getting that commercial advertisement and marketing and giving up ownership of my special? So there's a lot of those things that are tough. And are going to have, those are challenges that are coming at me, even though at the end of the day, if they don't play by my rules, I'm gonna do it myself anyway.
I'd say you're missing that. And the only other thing that you're missing from your career is the overly self-indulgent, I can act portion of your career, where you do the comedian starring role thing that nobody wants.
Well, I do. That, and if I start doing Disney stuff, that's when you're super, super successful, right? When Ice Cube used to sing F the Police and now he's making Disney movies, that's how you're really famous. But and I always say, I want to be so good as a stand-up that they will let me act, right?
Yeah.
That's how amazing Chris Rock is, because he is probably the worst actor I have ever seen. But he's that amazing as a stand-up that they're like, you know what? We'll forgive you for being the worst actor in the world. Don't do that.
I did a junket a couple of days ago for Disney, and she was off the charts nice. It was a pleasure to speak to Margaret Cho, but it's so funny to see that she was in this Disney Plus show that's aimed towards kids. And you're like, have you ever heard her stand up?
Yeah. Do you know her act? Right. But she's also just an amazing person too. And, yes. I've never met a more confident human than Margaret. I mean, she just oozes confidence. I remember meeting her when I worked the door at the Addison Improv, and coming up, she had already had that failed sitcom, and I clearly knew who she was. And I met her, and she was not at all what I expected. I mean, she was she exuded confidence and had this winning attitude. And I think that's what's attractive. And I used to hate early on in my career where they would go, you got to be clean. You want to be successful, you got to be clean. I'm like, wait a minute. The most successful comedian of all time is Richard Pryor. He was so far from being clean. He was just funny.
Right. Well said. Well, hey, 2 quick questions, and then I'm going to let you roam free because there's yard work to do. And I'm sure
that's right
in your future. first question, as I mentioned before, music fan. Yes, you're busy with family and touring, and you probably want to be home when you don't have to be on the road. But what's the last concert that you went to for fun?
I was performing in Vegas during NFR in December, and I am a huge George Strait fan. And my wife and I got to go see George Strait live. And I just, and as a performer, I'm always watching how they perform. And one of the things that I really appreciated about George is that he was so gracious and made sure to constantly thank the people that came to see him. And I thought to myself, here's the guy with 60 number ones. Mm-hmm. Here's the guy who is filthy, filthy rich and successful. He's been famous for a very, very long time. And the fact that he continually said, thank you. He didn't say thank all of you. He would literally say thank you. And I thought to myself, man, like, what a classy, appreciative person. He would bow, he would say thank you. And then he gave away a house to a veteran on stage. And I thought to myself, not only is this guy classy, but he's also giving back. And I enjoyed the concert so much because I knew every single song. I'm already a big fan. But I'm an even bigger fan that he's so gracious, and it made me become a better performer. And now I don't say thank you all for coming out. I now say thank you for coming out because I learned it from George.
That's a lot to take in right there. And it's also great to see that your influences don't just come from comedy or family. It's all entertainment. And speaking of that, the last question I have is, besides I Speak Wife, do you have a recommendation for a TV show that people should be watching? And I called it a TV show because, hey, you could stream it on your television.
Well, my wife and I last night, we watched two things. One was the hatchet yielding hitchhiker on Netflix. Completely crazy. Wow. If you haven't seen that, you need to watch it.
Haven't seen it. Okay.
Oh, please watch it. It'll blow your mind. And then not only that, and then we watched the Waco David Koresh deal. And I don't know how old you are, but I remember Waco. Mm-hmm. I really didn't understand what happened there. And it blew my mind watching this. And again, you're probably sitting there going, I was thinking comedy, Steve. Well, the problem is that
no, not at all. I mean, comedians don't watch comedy. That's one thing that you learn over time.
Well, but not only that, there is no more good comedies.
There's so many great comedies, whether or not they're intentional. Like Sylvester Stallone's show, The Tulsa King, is a great comedy that's not supposed to be a comedy.
Not supposed to be a comedy, but it is comical. Yes, but they've taken away risky humor. They've taken away. Nobody wants to produce a risky, funny show. I mean, I don't even think The Hangover would fly, at this stage. And it makes me sad. And I've always said, and this isn't for me because I am not edgy in my stand-up, but I've always said, if somebody made a website and said it's $3 a month and you were going to see the most edgy, raunchy, no holds bar sketches and stand-up, and we're allowed to do whatever we want because you pay to see it, I think that is $1 billion website. Because I think
called Compound Media.
I don't know. Is there one out there?
Oh, that's just a joke. Anthony Cumia's podcast network.
But I mean, I think people would come and watch this, and basically when they get on the website, it says you are paying for this, and there is nothing off limits.
Well, maybe you're launching that in the near future.
I just wanted to say it out loud so that if somebody does it, I have legal right to sue them.
Yeah, as they say, you were in the room, so you co-wrote it. So
that's right. I co-wrote it. That's right. But man, I'm so excited to be back with you and talk to you. And it is, it really put things in a perspective for me, because I wake up every day and I'm just me. I'm Garrett's dad. I'm Delilah's dad. I'm Renae's husband. And when you said, man, in a year and a half, you've gained 50 million views, I'm like, oh, wow, that is pretty cool. And I don't see it like that, but when you brought it up, it made me go, oh man, I guess I am doing pretty good.
Paltrocast.